All right, we'll go ahead and call the Monday, December the 27th, 2010 meeting to order, and I will entertain a motion for the minutes of last month.
I move to approve the minutes from last month.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried. First on the agenda is the Paul's reports.
She's coming.
She's coming.
About ready to go to the end of the line, isn't she?
Is she coming?
There she is.
All right. And I think you got her report on your on your desk.
Yes, sir.
That used to be in first.
I know. Usually I have a few minutes to spare. This is our November report. Nothing out of the ordinary. Numbers are still going down. We're in that downward slump, which in the back there are a few graphs just showing the comparisons. For November, we took in 592 animals, 261 dogs, 290 cats, 41 others. We had 116 adoptions, 374 animals euthanized, 42 reclaimed by the owner. Had 2,007 people visiting the shelter in November looking for a lost or new pet. On the request for service, we received a total of 1,055 calls, completed 1,066. That's due to carryover. A lot of those are like the trap calls and open calls that are still under investigation. You have the officer mileage at the bottom. For the year to date, we have taken in 3,792 animals, had 695 animals adopted, euthanized 2,584, 210 reclaimed by an owner. The adoption reclaim rate's at 24%, euthanasia rate's at 68%. 11,328 people have visited the shelter since July 1st, looking for a new or lost pet. And our request for service so far since July 1st, 6,572, with calls completed at 6633. And then you've got the percentage of where those calls were originating from.
On those calls, compared to last year, is it up or down?
I believe it's going to be a little bit lower than where we were this point last year. The last couple months, the numbers, when we get to the graphs, you'll kind of see the numbers have been a little bit lower this first part of this fiscal year, and we still seem to be a little bit on that downward slope. Even our intake is a little bit lower than it was in the previous year.
As long as you're answering questions, tell me about what are out-of-county intakes. How do
A lot of times that's going to be a return, that an adoption return, or someone who found the animal outside the county as a Rutherford County resident, brought it home, tried to find home for it or whatever, and then ended up bringing it into the shelter. We usually try to encourage people to take them to the shelter or animal control in whatever county they were found. That's going to be the best opportunity for that animal to find its way back home. But a lot of times you'll have people who aren't willing to do that, rather than have it end up out on the streets. We'll go ahead and take those in. I believe on this previous, on the November, the two that were there were both adoption returns. Let's see, where were we? Oh, on the bites. The rabies exposure and bite report, we had a total of 33 bites reported in November. 13 of those animals were tested, no positives. On the other rabies exposure, we had 1 reported and tested, and it was negative as well. Our yearly total, which the bites are tracked on a calendar year, we've had 372 reported, 130 of those tested. 3 were marked as positives for the year, but those on the bites were all unsatisfactory results, which counts as a positive or is looked at as a positive. On the other exposure, 55 reported, 51 tested, with 8 positives. And then those last pages are just the comparison graphs to give you kind of a, some of you are familiar with them, that just shows you the last 3 years, and kind of the, you can see how they all kind of tie into each other, the intakes and the adoptions. I think December is going to be kind of on track for where we are. We might even be a little lower than we were in November. As of this afternoon, I think we had a little over 400 intakes. So we still have the rest of this week, so it's going to be pretty close, but I think we'll still be below the November total. And adoptions, I believe, may exceed. We were at 115 this afternoon, so we'll probably surpass that 116 for November, so that'll be a little bit higher. Other than that, that's all I've got.
Any questions for Tracy?
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do I have a second? Second. Got a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Correctional Work Center report. How's it going? Doing good. I think we got it in front of us right here.
The first page is the yearly activity report. This reflects July to November. See, the average count is staying about the same. We got programs still going pretty good. We just had a GD test a couple of months ago. We had 17 taken and 10 passed, so that was great. Incident reports, you can see they went down last month.
What would be an incident report?
Anything that generates an officer interaction with behavior, it could be, or injury, anything within that nature. And disciplinaries, you see, last month went down, which was great to see. DUIs, that's going great. We were able to add more work hours to that detail, and so that reflected more people coming in and getting the DUI hours down.
How were you able to accomplish that?
We worked with Solid Waste on their budget and kind of incorporated our budget in theirs to increase the gentleman that does it, give him some more man hours.
Okay.
So it was perfect for it was a win-win for everybody to get that done.
Because by law, don't they have to have a certain amount of time to get that time in?
Right, and so we increased his hours, and now we're doing it like 3 to 4 days a week, getting him out there with them, so it's been working out great. Questions on page 1? Page 2, the monthly worker report, those reflects the days that inmate crews go out, the number of men and hours they put in, and based on those hours, how much we are saving by using inmates to do that labor. In November, we saved $122,432 to the county.
I'm assuming all the municipalities and the county uses those inmates?
Right. We're at Smyrna right now. We have a meeting with them in 2 weeks to go in front of their town council meeting to discuss some of the issues we're having with them and getting those crews back to work. It's they have a issue with the liability in case an inmate gets injured, and so they want us there to kind of explain it to the town council exactly what that means, because everybody else is under those guidelines. We just want to go there and explain it to them. So that was great. They invited us to come down, so we'll be there in, like I said, a couple of weeks.
So right now, Smyrna isn't using any of the inmates?
They haven't used inmates since approximately July or August.
And that liability is where if they have some of those inmates with them and actually performing duties for the town of Smyrna or for whoever, they're liable for if they get hurt.
Right,
for the medical.
Right, exactly. Any questions? Page 3 is the board bills, so to speak. It's with general sessions and circuit court bills, Smyrna general sessions. That's the number for that month.
But the bottom part doesn't show very much coming in. Is that the way I'm reading it?
Right.
Or it says paid in from Smyrna.
Right.
Do they
yeah,
pay
and-
quarterly or something like that? Because they've,
But they do.
Okay.
We'll get a check from them quarterly, so that's why you don't see anything there. And then, of course, the account DUI letter, they pay as they come in, so that's why that number is there. State litter pickup, see the mileage and what we've collected for doing those roads. And once again, this is generated to solid waste. They take charge of that. We just give them the inmate help to get the job done. And the final pages are the last board meeting. And minutes from that. The main thing was the board wanted to recognize the Circle of Love Sisters organization, say faith-based program that deals with women's needs, and they helped us a lot with the last program we did for our female inmates, and the board wanted to recognize them. And we're still moving along with the accreditation process. That's about it.
Any questions?
motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carried. Thank you. Sheriff's Department report. How y'all doing?
Doing all right? Good evening, everybody.
How you go?
Make a pile.
One for you.
Thank you.
Hope everyone had a Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Just got in from Illinois today, so
Is that right?
we had 18 inches of snow.
Where were you?
Streeter, Illinois.
I'm glad it was in Illinois instead of here.
It was a lot.
Could always be worse down here.
I hadn't seen that since,
We had that kind of snow down here, and I think the whole state shut down.
yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
Walgreens would have been open.
I
don't know how they figured that one out.
The city of Chicago too, I was listening, they had 200 and some odd salt trucks out the other night. When all the stuff hit here, I called back to find out what was going on. In Rutherford County, we only had 2. So,
And they did a fine job.
I ain't even trouble.
well, that was state. Let me say it was state.
Oh, okay.
State, not county.
when you got
Yeah. No, I did not.
Did a great job.
You did a great job.
Well, the amendments we got this evening are pretty straightforward. We recycled some more of our brass back to the recycling yard, so there's a check that came in for that. We'd like to put that back into law enforcement equipment so we can buy some more ammo for shooting on the range. That's the first amendment. The second one is a grant that came in. It's the JAG grant down there, number 2, the 2010 Burn Justice Assistant Grant. That's come in, and we're wanting to put those funds into our law enforcement equipment line item.
What was that grant for? Refresh my memory.
As for technology and equipment, I've got Philip Martin here if you want further information on that. But it's for the AVLs.
Yeah, the AVLs, the locators on all the cars.
Technology on the cars. Yeah.
Okay, I remember now.
Okay. And then we've got another grant for the SCAP grant that's come in. Those monies have been received, and we're going to, under the guidelines for that grant, we can actually put those into the repair maintenance of the building on the detention side. So that's where we'd like to put those monies and offset some of those costs we got there.
They gave us a few categories, and we thought that this would be
The best.
the
Right.
best use of the money due to the repairs that we need to do at the building. So the feds are going to give us $16,000 to help us out on that.
All right.
We'll take it. And that's all I've got for tonight. That's about as high tech as we get tonight on it.
I'll make a motion to approve the budget request.
Got a motion, and there's a second. Our discussion on the motion that's on the floor. Hearing or seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner Pease?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes. Guess we got the
Then we have our, our normal report on all of our line item accounts. We are still on track to be ahead of the curve as far as overtime and payroll both, and all the related accounts that go with it. As to when we get to the end of the budget year, there will be surplus funds left over. I'm going to get one more pay period in, the January 7th pay period. Once that's in and I run those numbers for the next meeting that we have on the 24th, that's when I'll start presenting some ideas as to where we'd like to move some of the extra funds, because we are going to have a lot of extra money left over, and I'd like to be able to put that back into the repair of the building. And as we discussed when you guys came over and took the tour. So we are on track to hit those goals as we've stated earlier, and I'm going to start presenting those ideas at that time, because I'll have 6 months worth of, or 13 pay periods complete. I'll have all that data to be able to average out everything, and we should be in good shape to know where we're going to be at the end of the year.
Okay.
We've had all of our comp time buybacks and things like that. So all those odd things that normally would happen in a pay period or annual year, the majority of those will have occurred, and I'll have a really good handle where we're going to be at by the time we hit the end of the year.
Okay,
So that's kind of coming up next meeting.
okay.
But for the moment, we're doing pretty good.
Is there any questions on the report?
Motor vehicles, is that maintenance or is that new vehicle?
Which one?
54, 110, 178, or 718?
718?
Yeah.
That is purchases of motor vehicles. That's new vehicles and all the equipment that goes on them.
I guess that
And
was,
we-
a lot of that was done before.
No, actually, they go ahead and purchase those at the end of the, when the new models show up. And so he goes ahead and expends all that money on out, including the equipment that goes with it.
Y'all do
What you're asking for is, was that done prior to our administration? Most of it, some vehicles, there was a line item there to purchase certain vehicles, and
Gotcha.
we went ahead and did it. We are holding out on one other vehicle, kind of waiting towards the end. That's why we're just kind of leaving that money there.
And y'all, I guess y'all do that one time a year, not,
We actually kind of spread it out a little bit, because sometimes we'll buy 20 vehicles at a time, sometimes we'll do allotments. And, this year, the Crown Vic is going to be,
it's this last
yeah,
year.
it's
I
its
believe.
last year, so now we're trying to figure out what vehicle we're going to go to next. And the funny thing is, Impala's, or not Impala's, the Caprice.
Caprice Classic.
Chevrolet's coming back out with a rear-wheel drive, Ford's going to a front-wheel drive. They're swapping up for some reason. So now we're looking at those and looking at prices and different things going on. But that's where that was. We just bought four new Caprices
Crown Vics.
Crown
Crown
Vics
Vics last
last
time,
month. So
Anybody else? If there's no other questions, I entertain a motion on the report.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Thank you for your
Thank y'all.
time.
have a happy New Year.
Y'all too.
See you next year.
Hope it is on the county roads too.
See y'all next year.
Fire and rescue.
You just pick your copy.
That's my idea for maintenance.
First report you see is on WAC. The first one is the motor vehicle accident report for last month, and we had, I think it was 56 calls total. And I have notified all the rescue heads that when they turn in reports, they start giving me a count of how many extrications they actually did. So hopefully next month I'll be able to give that information. And response time is averaging about the same. We had Saturday night, Christmas night, we had about 4 or 5 cars piled up on 840 where they were coming down the highway and they hit the bridges and they were iced over. So we stayed pretty busy out there for a couple of hours.
Looks like the response time is way down compared to what it used to be.
Yeah, sometimes they even make it within 2 or 3 minutes. Depends on where the call comes out.
What's your average response time? I don't see that
It
anywhere.
was, it's been about 6.7 minutes. It was running about 7.5. It's really improved out John Bragg Highway and Manchester Highway with having Kittrell. When they went into service, it really decreased the response time down there because they had so far to come from the middle of town.
There's one, it's the fourth one down on motor vehicles, and maybe I'm reading it wrong, but it says it's I-24 at mile marker 33.
Yeah, that's a typo. I'm sure
Okay.
that's 70. It's supposed to be 73.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
All right.
that's from out of county.
Oh, yeah, that's up in Clarksville. Well, between Davidson and Clarksville, that's what I was
That's a
wondering.
typo.
I thought maybe something,
Quicker response time, 4 minutes.
okay.
You're getting better, I know exactly. And then, of course, the next report is my report. We had 20 graduates from the rookie school, and a lot of them have already been very anxious to go through the live burn. They even started calling before we ever got out of class, where they could get to be in their class. Of course, you know, with our department, they can't fight fire to get out of that class, and so they're already, a lot of them's already been through their live burn training over at the academy just so they could go ahead and get started. And some of them has even reported over and showed up in case somebody didn't show up, they could get in class, so they pretty anxious.
Where are you at with the building in Fosterville?
The mayor's gonna bring it up tonight. Next one is the consolidated fire call and water reports, giving all the total of training hours and the total water usage and the number of calls and type calls that they've been running.
All right, having problems getting in the water information from some of these other ones.
Sometimes, Eagle Fire Department has got a new chief. They replaced the old one, and they were actually 13 months behind in reporting their TFRs. And Terry Green has been named chief, and within the last 2 months, he's got everything. I got all that caught up to date. He's having a positive influence out there, and it's really turned that department
They were
around.
13 months behind on
13
the
months
TFRS
behind.
reports.
Yeah.
Where are we at on that with the, I know at one point some of the departments were lacking. Can we not,
I got a report that Eagle was behind, and they wasn't aware of it. I talked to Mayor Sam Toon when Chief Martin resigned, and Terry Green has been appointed chief, and I made him aware of it, and he got with Dennis Mulder of the state and kind of give him an overview of what he needed to do. And he's been working diligently on that. If he had any problems, he called Dennis, and he helped him through it. So he told me, he called me today and told me that he was caught up, and he was up to date on that, and was really instructing his firefighters about what they need to get on their reports, what they need to include, make sure they write a narrative on there, what's going on in case he wasn't on the scene. And so he's really making a lot of major changes out there.
good deal. I know that the TFRs, if they don't report it within a certain amount of time, it's a state law, but that'll also affect them on grants too. And if they don't report it, then they won't be able to apply. And I hate to see that if they can't apply, so.
The next one is, of course, just the total water usage, which includes fire calls and training. pretty much it.
Any questions on his report? If there's no questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries.
I have a budget meeting too. As you well know, the January 1st, District 19 will be incorporated into the Rutherford County Fire Rescue Department. They become Station 3. And in the line item of other contracted services, which the county fire department's money comes through my budget, they got $15,000 left, and that would go to them, and I want to amend and have it put into $8,000 in communications, and then $7,000 into $499 other supplies and materials.
On the communications, what would that?
That incorporates, what that pays for is the telephones and the internet stuff at the stations. That, they have to have that in order to report their TFRs to the state.
Right.
So that right there covers their telephone and communications part of it, their telephone, their internet at each station. Plus, it also includes our cell phones, but that's the biggest, we're gonna be short on that because of the increase of, it's taken in southeast Rutherford.
Okay. You've heard the request, is there a motion on the floor?
What are your other supplies and materials?
That's basically just kind of a miscellaneous, where we can use it for turnouts or any kind of equipment we may need. Elaine in finance told me that we were going to be short that in communications, so that's one of the reasons I want to make sure we had that covered.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion to have a second?
Second.
And a second. Our discussion. Hearing or seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner Key?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
Okay, I meant to bring a little bit more information on it, but the old Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department received a grant from the AIG firefighters grant. It was for $54,000.
Correct.
The county's part of it, I think it's 26, is that right?
$2,615 or
$31, something like
$31,
that.
Yes.
What this money is for rapid intervention teams, ropes and stuff, and extrication equipment. And there was also 16 sets of full turnouts in there. So I want to ask the committee to approve us that we accept that grant. Me and Commissioner Young, who's with Rutherford, has met with finance, and we're in the process of talking to the federal government. We were able to swap over the recruitment and retention grant, and we feel pretty sure we can swap this over to the county.
So actually, when Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department was in existence,
They applied for that
they applied
last
for that.
year.
So now that it's Rutherford County Fire Rescue.
We're hoping to roll that over in our, and we talked to one of the guys about this Howland grant, and of course during the holidays, the week before last, a lot of people were already out, and but he said he didn't feel like there'd be any problem with that, swapping it over, bringing it over on the county system. The other one wasn't a problem, but if we do that, we accept it, and the county's part's going to be $2631.
Just $2,600.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a 95%
$5,000.
funded by the federal government, 5% matched by the county.
So, I mean,
And I
that's,
spoke with a guy in Washington on the 23rd, and he said, got to send a letter to him, and he was pretty confident that the county could take the grant. They just wanted the names changes from me being the chief of Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department to the chief of the county fire department, just making sure that all the information would transfer. That was where
Okay.
basically where we were at with that. So.
that's a pretty good deal for $2,600 for $54,000.
And one pair of turnouts would cost more than that.
It's getting more turnout to like just pants, coats, like $1,700.
Right.
They've really gone up.
So you need a motion to
Yes,
that?
sir.
Is there a motion to that effect?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Do we need to add, and whoever's signatures need to be added to that, or is that taken care of?
I assume your motion is that you're authorizing the acceptance of the grant.
Yes.
So when it goes to the commission, the resolution can say and authorize execution.
Would I need to abstain for that since I wrote the grant, or does that matter?
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I don't think,
I didn't think it did, but I just wanted to
Because
make
you're-
sure I was.
I don't
It did
think,
not personally benefit.
no.
I don't have a second.
Is there a second to the motion?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Where-
That discussion.
Where's the 2,600 gonna come
That's,
from?
thank you.
It'll come out of ending fund balance,
Okay. But it,
general fund.
well, I guess in my mind, I won't say it was going the same way hers was, but I was thinking the same question. But I thought this, and was all under Citus money is where it came to support the fire department. And that's why I'm wondering, is it,
I don't know where that,
how would it?
I've never understood it to all be Citus money.
It's supposed to be, the TCA says the county fire and rescue is supposed to come from Citus. But from what Lisa told me is there's plenty of money in Citus there to
We
cover.
have enough sources
Yeah.
from
that
which
we
we're
can-
funding.
Okay.
She
So
said-
everything,
Have a general fund that is.
I guess what I'm saying is everything's gonna be above the board.
Yes.
Okay, we're not gonna get some other part of the
No,
county.
Before I
cities.
ever even brought this to y'all, we met with Lisa Nolan and made sure everything was where it needed to be, all the
And
T's were crossed.
I questioned that too, because my district's entirely inside the
Yeah.
city, and I wanted to make sure we weren't using property taxes to.
Well, when this goes
We're not.
before
And
budget,
we're
I'm
not,
sure it'll
so
be
We've
asked,
got
though.
a number of other revenue sources in addition to property taxes.
We're good.
Because when the department was done, I think it was pretty much stated then, I mean, there's no city tax dollars through city taxpayers that are going to funding this department, and I don't know where that misconception comes, but we wanted to make sure that it's not there now,
Although we do have mutual aid responding to the city.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Any questions? Do we call a roll?
You're just authorizing acceptance. It can be by acclamation.
Okay.
Or roll call.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
And also, me and the mayor met with the board of directors of Foxville Fire Department on their building, and I'll ask the mayor to step up here and speak to this.
Go back a little bit. During the last budgeting period, we had a request that we fund the construction of a building for the Fosterville Volunteer Fire Department over on the Midland side of the railroad track. As you well know, their location now is on the east side of the railroad. In fact, if there's a train there, they really can't get to the other side of the track to service a large part of their area. In any event, all of that took place over a period of a struggle that we had, and then they lost that site they had over there, as you recall, and they haven't built one back. They have purchased a piece of property, they have the property available, and we had allocated $55,000. At the time we had this discussion, it was pretty preliminary, and it was back in the spring of this year or thereabouts. So we put $55,000 in the budget for what we thought would likely be a one-bay unmanned station. Through the course of their discussion there, the board has determined that they would like a more long-term kind of solution. They want to put a two-bay station out there. They're not proposing to build the infrastructure internally yet, but they would like for it eventually to be able to even have office space and occupancy space. They wouldn't build that initially. But in any event, to build a two-bay station with the potential for improving that and putting internal to that building the ability to have some living quarters and a bathroom and office space, it's going to cost more than $55,000, to say the least. So what we did, we met with them and had this discussion. This has been going on for a little while, and we had an engineer that is going to do the Rutherford Volunteer Fire Department the Rutherford Fire Department, not the volunteer building. We had him do a sort of a take off on what he thought it would really cost, because we knew that $55,000 wasn't enough money. The Fosterville Fire Department, they have about $20,000 or thereabouts. So we've got $75,000 in hand. His estimate on what it's going to take to do this, as I described it, is about $147,900. So if you just say that's $150,000, we're $75,000 lacking in enough money to actually put a building out there that has heat in it, you might say, with 2 bays and with the potential for putting in this and the rough end for the plumbing, et cetera, so that they can fix it where they can use it for housing structures somewhere in the future, from being able to make this project viable. So we're back here telling you where we are, and to be able to put this station on, that second station on that side over there that strategically is really needed, we're going to have $75,000 more. Now, we took that initial 55 out of what we used to call the development tax. Now, with all these accounting changes, it's all sort of folded together. But the capital would probably come from that same source from which we're talking about here, even though we don't have a development tax fund anymore. Those funds still flow into the, more or less, the general fund now. So, now, if I covered that pretty well, and I don't know if Tiffany wants to add anything to this or not.
Well, with the railroad tracks being there, that greatly affects our ISO rating. By building this station out in Midland, it's going to drop it, just by putting the station out there in the truck, it's going to drop them from a class 10, which is virtually no fire department, to a class 9. So everybody in that area, they're going to benefit from that station as far as their ISO rating, which will bring our homeowners insurance down probably $200 or $300 a year.
Which would be nice.
It may drop it even lower than that.
Well, I'm just saying, that's worst case scenario.
Well, and they've done a lot of other stuff too, as a department, to bring the ISO down. They just haven't had it tested yet. So they've done, you know.
Since they reorganized, they've got their records as far as their hose testing, pump tests, all their maintenance records, all things that they need for another rating. And if they got this station out there, and then they can have another ISO rating, it would probably drop
way down
to 8 or 7.
I guess, I mean, without going into a lot of details, some of y'all may remember that the county had to step in out there in Fosterville due to some
inappropriate handling of procedures and funds.
And I think, and then that situation out there is, from what I'm understanding, is tremendously turned around out there due to that board. And
they have a really, really great board. They're doing a great job. The chiefs out there, they're doing a wonderful job of their response, their training. I mean, it's like a different, I mean, it is a different department. So I think they've earned the respect of the county.
Is the agreement still the same, that they'll sign the land or the building over? If we're paying for it, it's going to become county property?
It's going to become, yeah, it will be our property. That was the original arrangement, even with the $55,000. And we'll, in turn, give them over a long-term lease for that sole type of use for that property.
But basically, it's going to take at least $150,000 just for a shell of a metal building.
And I think it's important to understand too that the station that they do have, it's just the facility is really not.
They don't even have restrooms in it.
No, there's no restrooms. There's very extremely small office space, enough room for maybe one desk and a chair. They do have one bay for a table for the board meetings, but and they've had to put a lot of money into upkeep of that building as well. That's not even theirs.
And Chief Walker himself has even wrote grants and got a foam system for one of their trucks, and so I mean he is writing grants and received 2 or 3 of them, and so I mean they've really come a long way.
They're not always with their hand out there, actually out there trying to work.
Well, since we've had to basically, put the other unit out of service, you might say, they have raised enough money to buy this piece of property, and they've put another $20,000 or so in, and they're going to do a lot of work themselves, there's going to still be sweat equity.
Right.
And it might be less than that too,
It might be,
I mean,
but
How much
but we need to
did,
set that aside.
did Salem Blackman's fire department cost?
$253,000.
Yeah, but that was before, that was the loan agreement. I think they bought the land for $59,000 on top of that.
Yeah, I didn't count that, I didn't know about the land
And I
cost.
think they put in another 20 of cash before a down payment.
So it's.
It was $350,000.
It's $250,000, and I think that was turnkey, and they, this would give them a big head start.
They just, there's nowhere in the community to do things like have, breakfasts
Fish fries and
and
hamburgers
because there's
and
not
stuff.
bathrooms there at the station. When we had a cookout last summer, we had to just do it on the new property and have a porta potty come out and, just do the best they could. And
Well, what's their commitment as far as any help on this financing further?
Well, they're 20,000, they've got available right now.
Understood that, we had that with the 55, right?
Well, I don't know when they had it, but I guess they've accumulated that much since this whole discussion has taken place.
And that came from community donations and,
Now, I'm sure they're gonna continue to raise money, but there's no set amount of money that they've said
Well, I
to.
mean, are we gonna require them to pay part of this back, or we're giving that, I mean.
We're gonna own it.
I understand
Yeah.
we're gonna own it, and they'll be able to use the facility, and I'm all for them, y'all need another facility out there, especially with that railroad track through there.
I think they're committed, especially, maybe not with this shell of this building, because most of this is gonna be out-of-pocket costs, but when you might say, fit out the interior of that building, they're gonna be doing a lot of that, contributing material and labor to helping us do that, but that won't be in this phase, that'll be a year or two or three down the road, after they can accumulate some more dollars.
What's the total amount minus the 20? You said 149,000 is what it was gonna cost, so
Well,
100.
his little estimate now is 147.9, and they've already put their money in, they bought, I don't know what they paid for the
I
property.
think 15,000.
15.
We got a great deal on that.
And, I'll say the development tax, because I don't remember what it is, but half of that goes to pay debt that we get. This year is the worst year that's ever been.
That's right.
So far. So we're looking at maybe $1 million will be in the development tax, and so that leaves $500,000 to use for capital projects, correct?
Correct.
Roughly. What else is committed to that? Is there anything yet? I don't think.
Well, we paid for out of that, we've already paid for the purchase of Salem Blackman and for the Rutherford Rescue Building, so we paid for that already out of the fund. But we have ending fund balances there. It wasn't like it wasn't anything there. We had a few $1 million even still in there now. So we haven't drawn it all the way down. There's still funds there to do these things and still have some dollars left for future things that you may choose to do.
Okay.
I mean, the big thing is that the way I see it, and I guess, me being in this profession, those residents out there deserve, the fire protection. And there's an area out there right now, if there's a train that's on that track, the nearest fire station to respond to those people out there is Barfield, or is actually.
Because Christiana is actually, both their stations are on the other
Yeah.
side of the railroad tracks.
I mean, they're looking at probably a 15 to 20 minute, if they're lucky, response time, and you all
From the
know.
station.
And that's from the station, that's somebody getting to the
That's
station.
everybody volunteering too,
So, it's a small community out there. It used to be in my commission district, but I know now it's in yours through the redistricting, but those people out there, they deserve some good fire protection, and this station will give that to them. If it saves one life, it's worth it.
One thing I kind of see too is there's a lot, been some really good development down that way too, and we're just reinvesting in the community out there by putting that development tax back into the community, because there's some big subdivisions that are, a lot of lots are drawn up. There's quite a few houses, but I know there's some more houses going with step systems and whatnot out there too off of, is it Rock Springs or?
Yes, Rock Springs, Lewis Downs.
So,
Those are large houses.
And God forbid, if that other Station 1 that's across the tracks, if the person that owns that decides to do something different, the area out there is without protection. You know, that puts some people into, you know, into jeopardy.
Well,
Sort of back to Mr. P's question. Maybe we could get them to put a little bit more equity into this thing. In other words, we need $75,000. We know that much. Well, maybe if we said we will allocate another 65, and either we save $10,000 in building costs, or you guys help us find $10,000 more dollars of contributions or otherwise, maybe we could do that.
You know, and I think she brought up a good point a while ago, and it could come out to be this way. Right now, there's no area out there where they can actually have a fundraiser, fish fry, or a ham breakfast, or a waffle breakfast, or something like that. With this building, there's going to be facilities there, restroom facilities in an area where they can actually have it, and then use that money to help pay, to raise $10,000 at some point to go towards the building.
Well, when they build the shell of the building, that's what they've talked about, is that when it comes time, they'll go back in there and do the stud walling and sheet rock and build the office and all that type area. They'll finish out the inside as they raise the funds to do that.
are they gonna contract the building out themselves, or are we? Because they'll probably save money if they do.
We will. We're going to have to have an engineer draw specs, and we're going to have to take bids.
And I mean, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'll go ahead and say it too. And they have people that they have talked to about, you know, putting in septic systems, and that is willing to do that for a lot cheaper than, you know, if you just went out and got whoever. So when the bid process comes up, they already have people that they have talked to that said that they would do it for a certain price, that is willing to put in a bid for that too. So it might come in a lot less than that due to some people willing to do that out in the community.
That's kind of what I was
But
thinking.
we've also got county codes that we gotta meet.
Well,
Right.
Yeah.
well, I get another shot at it when it comes before budget, so I can think, so I can feel good about making a motion to go ahead and approve this. And what I'd like to do is see a proposal about what they're gonna do. If they're gonna raise the money to finish the insides and all that, you know, I'm not gonna pin them down for $10,000 on the exteriors and, you know, the main part of the door. So I'll make the motion that we approve with the monies we have to put in the other $75,000 approximately, up to $150,000 total with the 75 we already have, to build the fire station. What is this, the west side of the tracks out there on the property that's already been purchased?
Midland community area.
Yeah.
But it's really only
Second.
$130,000 of our money, okay? 75
Because
plus
they got
55,
already put
right.
some, okay.
I'll second this motion, but I do have a question. If we ended up paying for this out of property tax, how much of an increase will that be, that $130,000?
We actually can't pay for this out of property taxes. That would make it a situs
If
collector.
we were paying for it, how much would it be?
Oh, how much was $75,000 more?
Well, the total is $130,000.
One penny is over $500,000.
So it's gonna be about a fourth of a cent.
Fourth of a
somewhere
cent,
in there.
yeah, a little less than a fourth of a cent even.
Okay.
Sound like a good investment to me.
And their insurance premiums will save it more than that.
Yeah, it'll save each property
Yeah.
owner
Well, I
at
know
least $100.
when Kittrell lowered theirs from a class 10 to a 9, and then it went further down, I think, parts of ours
They're
are 5.
5 now.
And I had people call me that were saving $600 a year off their insurance costs, and that's before we went to a 5. It just depends on where you're at in the district, who your insurance carrier is too. And then two, the fire departments get a good reputation of saving property, and you'll actually get a better rate from a lot of insurance companies if you're in a fire district that they know their response time is good, and they go out there, and you know what I'm talking about, Larry. You've done the same thing I've done with your out at Las Casas for years, so that's a good plus.
Well, you're gonna give them a place where they can actually have fundraisers and raise some money. And two, one of the things that this county fire department has brought about, where we're manning all of our rescue trucks and manning our stations a lot, the biggest part of the time, it's motivated these other volunteers to have people spend the night and stay at the station and have it manned because of quicker response time. I mean, it's raised the standard in the county, and these other guys are wanting to get on it. There's other departments that's raising money to build sleeping facilities because that's what the county's doing now. And they want to raise their, I mean, Kittrell's, they got 10 guys out there every night. And, you know, for years they couldn't get nobody to stay, but now they've got a rescue truck, and it's really raised the participation and the pride in the department that they want to provide the best fire protection that they can.
And then the end result, the taxpayers out there have received the best customer service that they possibly can have through minimal cost.
So this 75,000 is coming out of the previous development tax
Yeah.
funds?
Whatever the title of that fund is, yes, sir.
Whether it's committed or uncommitted.
Yeah, I don't know
all the
what the
stipulations
right
now.
technical term is right now.
It's just like it's not unassigned fund balance
Right,
anymore for
unassigned,
the
yeah.
either. It's, you know.
All right, we got a motion and we got a second on the floor.
I have a question.
Okay.
Did your motion include to make it contingent upon a proposal of assistance from the Fosterville Department?
Not
No.
for the exterior part of the structure, no.
Okay, so your
No.
motion is to approve up to $130,000 for construction of a building on the west side of the tracks?
Yeah.
Okay.
And when we get some drawings, I'll bring them back, just kind of keep you guys updated on where it's progressing.
All right, got a motion and a second. Any more discussion? Hearing or seeing none, guess we need to call the roll now.
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes. Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Emergency Management Agency. I need to pass on something to you. I got a phone call about sometime later after the meeting.
Not a problem. All right, call volume, which is the second page, pretty much typical, some small scale hazardous materials events, some planning meetings and things of that sort, nothing out of the ordinary. Up front on the top of my agenda for this evening, as you see an attached letter from FEMA that I received on December 16th of this month, stating that due to code 44 CFR 210, under the federal regulations for the mitigation plan for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, Rutherford County has met the requirements for approval of the hazard mitigation plan revision, which is required for a revision every 5 years. Our last version was 2005. This letter is an official approval per those Code of Federal Regulations. The only thing that we have left now to do is have each municipality formally adopt the revision of the plan, and then we have to hold one more public meeting. I have forwarded and talked to city managers and mayors of each jurisdiction. They've been provided with this letter along with a boilerplate adoption to be able to adopt this plan. It's my hopes that this will be completed before the end of the year, as each municipality has meetings coming up in January. So I'm looking for permission to send this up to the full committee meeting for approval and adoption of this plan. This does not need to go to budgets. It doesn't involve any monies at this time. But what this does is make available mitigation monies if we have projects that become available.
Who will have to have that public hearing? Will the LEPC have to do that?
Yeah, the Emergency Management Office will do it. It'll be a co-function of the LEPC, the subcommittee, which is the Hazard Mitigation Planning Committee, will be involved with that.
Okay.
And we've already had our first meeting several months ago, and we're required to have two. We'll have our second one January 5th.
Okay.
So that's that. And then also, I would like to request permission to...
Wait just a minute.
Yes, sir.
All right. I guess the first thing we need to do is on his report. If there's no other questions on his report, we can approve his report.
Make a motion to approve the report.
Got a motion to approve the report. Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. I guess the second thing we need to do is we need to have a motion to send this
To the full commission.
to the full commission to approve the plan.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
For official adoption to the plan.
Okay. Is there a motion on the Rutherford County Hazard Mitigation Plan proposal?
Motion to forward this to the full commission for
Okay.
approval.
Is there a second?
Second.
And a second. Is there any discussion on that motion that's on the floor? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion is carried. Okay.
Lastly, we have a grant for the response to the floods that we had last year. This is a reimbursement grant for cost of response to the flood event. I'm going to ask for approval to send this up the chain through the finance portion and then all the way up to the county commission for approval, plus any addendums that may become attached to this grant. This is a total cost benefit right now of $65,385.10 for costs that were incurred during the flooding response.
So it's actually not a grant,
This is a reimbursement.
It's reimbursement from FEMA.
Correct.
Is that the 75%?
I do not know the percentage on this. I can't
Because
tell
I
you
know
that.
FEMA pays 75% of the cost, and I know the local government has to split the other 25%.
25, right. They are also expecting addendums to come down further in the pike, which is why I want to ask that this be approved and then also make approval for further addendums that come down with the grant process as FEMA approves monies for other cost benefits that will become available as they predict. So we would just add addendums to that once it's
Okay.
approved.
But this is the first part of that, for the flood.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And this is just from the emergency management?
This is cost reimbursement for all county entities that were involved in response and had cost involved. The cities have separate grants
Right.
for their cost incurred.
Where there's a match from the county, can the work or money that we've already put out there count toward that, or is that cash we'd have to come up with?
I'm not sure of that
Well,
process.
this isn't a grant, this is, we got some money back before from FEMA that was 75%, and 12.5% of the remaining 25% came from the state, and then the county was, well, we had to pay the rest
The
of it.
county, on those reimbursement stuff, the county is actually out 12.5%. State pays 12.5%, and then the FEMA pays the 75% of reimbursement.
Correct.
I think in this particular case, I think we're only going to be liable for half of that last 12.5%. I think either the state through federal reimbursement is going to increase that 12.5%. So 6.25, I think, will be our piece. In any event, we're out all of the cost.
Right
This
now,
is
yeah.
just- Right now, this is just a reimbursement.
Right.
Okay.
It's going to be better than 75 plus 12.5. It's going to be 6.25, a little bit
Yeah,
better
okay.
this time.
So it's not really a grant, it's we're getting paid back.
It's getting
Yes,
paid back.
it's considered a grant, but it's reimbursement.
Right.
Correct.
So that 6.25 is actually being paid back to us. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're going to get more than we got.
93.5% back of what we paid.
Tornado, we got the 75 plus 12.5.
Right.
They've increased it another 6.25 on this go round, I believe.
All right, is there any questions about this? Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Is a motion, is there a second?
A second.
Is a second. All right, discussion. Hearing or seeing none, all in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right.
I need a
Lastly,
copy, though.
okay. Lastly, I've implemented some social media to start to utilize as a dissemination of public information and instructions in the event we have an emergency, because the social media frame has become such an overwhelming resource to contact the public in the event of emergency that we want to start implementing that capability. We've started today on Twitter, and we want to start implementing other mechanisms that are available to us so we can broadcast information to the general public when the need arises.
I know the city is getting ready to start in January. It's kind of like a, I don't know what they call it, Nixon or something like that.
Yes, sir.
That way, in case something comes up, a tornado, it's kind of like reverse 911. And if there's some kind of disaster, you can.
The thing that's good about all these systems is they can cross-communicate with each other, so we can go to Nixon and to Twitter and even Facebook and cross-reference all that material and reach a wider demographic with our information spreading. We're also getting ready to implement a new weather messaging system which will integrate warnings. So the second the National Weather Service issues a product, say tornado warning, that can go through our weather messaging system and be broadcast directly to Twitter and other social networking systems.
Do you communicate with the college?
Yes, yes. College is heavy into Twitter for their warning capabilities.
Is there any public information ways that we can get that information out to the?
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do a press blitz with that information as well. And as it continues to grow, we'll continue to educate the public best we can so they know what's out there and what's available for them.
Channel 19.
Yes, sir.
Different things like that. Okay.
And that's all I've got.
How are we, and I know I talked to Roger about this last time when we had the tornadoes. Of course, we've got an early call system that we're working on. If your house was in the path of a tornado, that you would be getting a call. Or where are we at on that? Has that been fully implemented?
That's through the dialogic system that 911 RCECD has established. I don't know really of its effectiveness for tornadoes because of their propensity to move quickly and drop out of the sky at locations that are unannounced, because the calling system is not especially quick for tornado routing. You have very little time to be able to adequately warn the public with that type of a system. But we will utilize it to the best we can. To my knowledge, too, that initial grant that started that program is coming to an end when it started with the District 5 Homeland Security District. So we're going to have to look at whether we're going to continue those services or look at other services to provide that same type of warning capability.
But you're saying it's fully operational?
Yes, as of right now it is, yes.
But it's contingent upon future funding, is that what
yes,
you're
sir.
also saying?
We're going to have to look at what we would have to do to update the system and keep it operating as is, or have to look at other options that are available out there. So we're looking into that as well.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Drug court report.
Well, I have to start by saying that I'm glad y'all are using Twitter, because my son has Twitter as an account, and he sells the servers to Twitter. So the bigger Twitter gets, the more servers they need, and the richer my son gets, which means he can afford me later in my life. So thank you, Rutherford County and Emergency Management. At least that's where I understand it. I don't claim to understand all this at all. He also has something to do with games on Facebook, Farmville, and all those crazy games. And I'm like,
no idea about all that stuff.
I don't either. It's a new generation out there. There you go. Did everybody get one? Yeah. Okay, I got an extra one. All right, these are my numbers. Little dip because of graduation, but DUI is holding. I don't know if you have any questions about the numbers, but I'll go on and do my narrative while y'all are looking at that. We did have the conference December 8th, 9th, and 10th, and it was just a major, major success. It was the best attended conference that the Tennessee Association of Drug Court Professionals has had in 7 years, so that was wonderful, yeah. And everybody loved the Embassy Suites. The Embassy Suites, not only was the facility itself just wonderful, but they were great to work with. And just premier. I can't go on enough about them. They gave me a walkie-talkie, and I just felt like I was a queen. It was just, I mean, everything was so well organized. And I was so proud of not only Mayor Burgess, but Mayor Bragg, because usually when we have these things and the mayors come and welcome us, the mayors don't know anything about drug courts. And you guys know about drug courts. And that made me feel so proud. It really did. It just, I mean, you could tell that you guys were involved, and I just really appreciated that very much. So I was very proud of all of us. People dropped a lot of money while they were here. There was a lot of shopping going on. There was a lot of eating out going on. And I heard great things about the restaurants. I think Mimi's was one of the favorites. It seemed like a lot of people were going to Mimi's. So I think overall it was just a huge success. I think they want to do it here again next year too. So that's what we're hoping for. We did have graduation during the conference, and we did have some very nice turnout. I met some new commissioners that I hadn't met. Oh gosh, don't tell. I'm not even going to say his name because I'll screw it up. But Senator Tracy came and a few other people.
Serena.
Serena?
Is that what you was trying to?
Okay. No, it was a male. I can't remember his name. Anyway, let's move forward. We did have a very, very nice graduation. We now have a total of 155 graduates from drug court, and then 19 from the DUI program. So we're really doing well, I think. And I don't know how many of you were aware of the passing of Dr. Dodd, David Dodd, last week. But the family has always been a great friend of the drug court program. And one of the things they requested was that donations be made to drug court. And we were just so overwhelmed by that. And actually, I was checking the mail today, and the checks are starting to roll in. So it's just been overwhelming. It's just been unbelievable. And I just publicly want to thank the Dodd family for the commitment that they have shown to our program and the support that they have shown to our program. And we appreciate it more than we can ever say. So. And that's my report.
Is there any questions?
Motion to approve the report.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
Okay, thank you very much. Happy New Year.
You too. Juvenile detention report. How are we doing tonight?
You good?
Okay, what you have in front of you is your usual monthly report. It's for the month of November, and there's nothing of particular interest in this report. We are still plugging along. Did want to answer Commissioner McAdoo's question from last month. He asked me how many counties that we currently contract with. We currently have 21 counties that we contract with, and with the addition to make it 22 agencies if you want to use the U.S. Marshal Service. So 22 different entities that we contract with. But if you have any other questions, I'll try my best to answer them.
Any questions for Lynn? If there's not any questions, I'll entertain a motion.
motion to approve the report.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
Got a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thanks.
Okay, thank you. OSHA report. How you doing, man?
I've already got
Yeah, it's on the
the
table.
report in front of you there. Just recapping, for the month of November, we had a total of 18 injuries requiring some type of medical attention. You'll see the breakout there. For the year to date, we've had 194. 128 of those were OSHA recordable. 48 had restricted days, 29 lost time days, and 51 all others. Total net incurred dollars for the month of November was $74,989. Of that, 10 injuries were with the Board of Education, and the total incurred dollars were $70,369. And the remaining other 8 were with the County General for $4,620. You'll get to see the graph here as you look, and you can see that we were up slightly for the month of November, but for the year-to-date, we are down. Looking from the calendar year 2010 versus 2009. 2009, we had a total of 243 injuries. Looking as of today, for this year, we've got 207, knowing that we still have another week yet to go for this year. We're down about 15% as far as injury claims. As far as dollars are concerned, last year we were at 463,766. We're at 413,165, which is down 11%. I just want to caution everybody on the dollars. So claims are easy to nail because you have the injury, you know it, but treatment for those can go up and down. So incurred dollars for last year obviously are pretty well stable, but the ones for June, July, August, September, October, November, and even anything that happened this month, those are estimated dollars, and so we're still working to have those to mature. Also, just to let you know, TOSHA gave us a visit this month, in the month of December, on the 9th. They selected 2 departments to go to. They went to the Sheriff's Office and the Solid Waste Department division, and we're still waiting on that report to come in. We don't have anything on that at this time. So,
any questions? Entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ambulance service report. How you doing tonight, Mike?
I'm good, how are you?
Doing good. Thank you, sir.
We made 1,818 calls during the month of November. Average response time 7.7 minutes. We had 35 coroner's calls and 12 autopsies. We billed $1,073,778, collected $486,618. Year-to-date collections are $22,387,407, which projects to $5.7 million. We had insurance write-offs of $333,469, collection agency write-offs of $103,031, and the workers' comp inmate $3,883. We have the mileage for the ambulances on the table at the bottom of the page, which over a total of 36,172 miles. And the operating costs and the cost per mile are reflected there. total number of out-of-zone calls seems to be increasing a bit, and I think that's due to the moving the hospital.
Speaking of moving the hospital, the gentleman come to the commission meeting the other night and read a really nice letter thanking your department for the job that y'all did out there. So your department should be commended for.
Thank you. I'll pass that along. We had several in-services and training, and they're listed there for you. We also provided medical coverage for all of MTSU football and basketball games and the high school football games. We also provided medical coverage for an archery competition at Buchanan Middle School, which should be middle.
Who sponsored it? You know?
Actually, it's a program that was started by one of the sheriff's officers. From what I understand, it was really taken off. The SORT rescue team, you can see their activities at the bottom of the page, and you should be getting those reports that I sent to you.
And those reports were very interesting. Shows how often a lot of the calls they go on and a lot of training they do and all that stuff.
Next page is response time report broken down by zones and stations. Grand total ends up being 1,818. Next page is the calls broken down by Commissioner District, and Commissioner Young continues to lead that fact.
Set the bar high.
I don't know what he's doing or wherever. He got a lot of folks already and going to be transported.
Yeah, but there's no coroner's calls, it's all medical calls.
And the next page is that same information year to date. And we have some.
Well, that's the most populated part, I think, of the county is probably 16th, because it's the central part of Murfreesboro, so.
But all districts have approximately the same amount of people.
Exact population.
It's the smallest district we have as far as the ambulance services.
But miles.
We make more calls there.
Because it happens with us too, and because our headquarters territory, our Station 3 territory, kind of is with y'all's, and it's the same way on both those.
I can say I've been on several of those calls, so.
This first email was sent to us by the cardiac transfer coordinator at Centennial Medical Center. We didn't actually pick this person up and take him to the hospital, but they drove to the hospital in their private vehicle to Stonecrest, and then we were called to Stonecrest to transfer that person to Nashville, and the time was very good and the outcome was spectacular, I guess would be the best thing to say about that.
That's good.
And then a couple of other compliments and thank yous.
Is there any questions for Mike on his report here? If there's no questions, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve the report.
There's a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a second. Discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed, motion carries. Anything else, Mike?
That's it, thank you.
All right, thank you. Is there any other business to come before the committee? Mayor Burgess?
I'm sure you're interested in this business. You recall, this is large animal, large dead animal removal.
Griffin.
We had a, Griffin Industries went out of business on that. We had a 6-month contract. It cost us $23,752 for that first 6 months. 6 months is up. We also contributed $1,000 along with the other 8 or 10 counties for the MTSU to do a study on what some alternative approaches would be. They haven't finished their study. We don't have any report from them yet. If we want to stay in this business, the next 6 months is going to cost us $15,300. They've lowered the price more than $8,000. So
That's getting down to about Griffin's price, wasn't didn't Griffin?
Griffin was about $25,000 plus for the whole 12-month period last year, I think, maybe right at $30,000. I'm going to give you the full story in that the number of animals we're picking up is small. In 5 months, they've only picked up in our county 62 animals, about 60% cows and about 40% horses. In any event, we don't have another option right now. I believe it is likely that most of the other counties, or maybe even this recommendation, I'm not sure, will suggest composting, which can be done very easily by each individual person that has these animals. In fact, Kentucky has gone so far to license farmers actually to do their own composting. They put a process in place to require that. Right now, some of the other counties are doing nothing. Williamson County is charging their farmers to pick their animals up, $150 per animal. If they pick up an animal, and you know full well how many farmers are going to be paying $150 to pick up a large animal, very few. So it's a real difficult decision. We've historically done this for so long. I don't know whether we should phase out of this or suggest or require going to composting, but and I'd like to see what MTSU study suggests that we do. We don't know yet what the outcome of that will be.
Have you talked to the Farm Bureau about this for any suggestions they may have?
I did before, seriously, and they had none, to be honest with you. We struggled with that with the Conservation and Ag Committee.
Well, you keep mentioning farm animals. Are these guys in the subdivisions going to compost deer in their front yard?
But that, we hadn't got to that. I don't know if we picked up any deer, actually.
I mean,
probably we have somewhere along the way.
I mean, that's part of their service that they're doing.
It'd have to.
But it's just not a good situation, period. And I hate to ask for you to spend another 15.3, but I don't know what we do. It's either that right now or just discontinue the service.
I'm going to make a motion that we continue the service for the 15.3 until we get a solution.
But we got to press for a solution now.
Yeah.
Well, we must have a solution before next budget period. Somehow we've got to get this report from them, and we've got to step up and do what we have to find some alternative or charge for this service or something.
What do they do when they compost?
Well, there's no odor. There is no, nothing is left except bones. What you have to put it on a hard surface, such as a small slab of concrete. You put several inches up to a foot of wood shavings material there. You place the animal on top of that, cover it with another 2 or 3 feet of wood shavings, and it's perfectly harmless and stingless and odorless.
Well, how they get it up on
That's their problem.
Well,
But if they won't pay $150 to get it picked up, you know, unless you've got some legal action that you can take against, a lot of them aren't going to do that either.
There doesn't appear to be any legal
okay.
action that one
unless the
could
smell
take.
gets so bad at their place that they got to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But all of this, again, has been brought about by federal regulations that won't allow the use of these carcasses for any purpose, converting it to animal feed, et cetera. But you have to remove 100% of all of the whole spinal column and any brain tissue, and that is impossible. So the people have had to get out of the business of trying to reuse those products.
So if a deer is hit on the side of the road, is that what Griffin would come out and do, is get the deer?
But Mr. P said that they were, I suppose
They
they
did.
were.
I mean, I know they did. They picked one up in front of my driveway, and I was very thankful that they did.
A lot of times the deer are sick because they're smaller than a cow or a horse.
Smaller than a cow or horse, but it was large.
Okay. All right, we'll clarify what your motion is, Commissioner
To
Pete.
spend the 15,000, whatever it was for the next 6
$15,300
months.
for another 6 months of
Well, you
service.
said until find a solution, but do you want to make it
Well,
for
for
just the
that,
6
we'll
months?
make it for that 6 months.
For this 6-month period. What he's saying is we won't approve any more money until somebody has at least some alternative approaches defined.
I don't think any of us want rotting carcasses sitting on the side of the highways out here. And that's what we're gonna do if we don't do anything.
Skunks are bad enough, aren't they?
Does MTSU know when they may have that?
I don't know. 15,380 to be precise. This is being handled by the South Central Development District over there, and I haven't I've talked to him, but I don't know whether he knows yet when they're going to finish their little study.
All right, we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any discussion? You need to read something?
No, probably need a roll call.
Okay. Call the roll?
Commissioner Gooch?
Yes.
Commissioner Jones?
Yes.
Commissioner McAdoo?
Yes.
Commissioner P?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Young?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes.
This we contract with this company, and they pick them up anywhere in the county, don't they?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
City
we
limits and
assume
all,
all,
it's
yeah,
not
that's what I
just the
thought.
county areas.
Just the background.
Well,
Is that
there's,
it?
That's it, sir.
Anybody else got any other business?
I gotta ask a question.
Okay.
Bicycles and their bicycle outings, is there anything still going on with that, or?
From what I understand, Mr. DeMasi and them are still having bicycle committee meetings. And once they bring something, I know, since Commissioner Ronald Williams got off the committee, there's probably not a commissioner on there. If you'd like to serve, I'd be willing to glad to appoint you. I mean, I'm just, he's not on there now. Is that something that you'd be interested in?
No. They were going pretty good, it seemed
Right.
like. And it's, I can write on the city roads, so I don't have to put up.
Is there anything else? All right, we stand adjourned. Thank y'all.
And I can take my trips down the.